Hi there, welcome back to this weekly Shreddees episode. This week I am featuring this Jackson Pro Series Monarch SCP. And to change things up this week, I'm actually playing through my Revv Generator 740 head, going into one of my Revv 212 cabs, mic'd up with a WGS Veteran 30 speaker. Now, usually when I play with my Headrush board, whether it's through this weekly Shreddees show or even live with my band Siren, I actually use a Veteran 30 impulse response speaker. Although I have my Mesa rectifier and I have the 412 cab loaded with the Celestian Vintage 30s, I actually much prefer the Veteran 30 speaker, and I just feel it's more my sound. It has my tone. It's more my developed sound. So I love it a lot more. So, and also to change things up with this amp, it's very much a modern high gain amp. So I'm actually not using any pedals, nothing. This is completely a dry signal. So you really get that really awesome distortion sound. So to change it up, that's what I'm doing this week. But anyway, I'll probably, like, through some of the lead stuff, I'll probably, you know, in the mix down to the audio track, I'll probably put a little reverb and delay just to spice it up a bit. But anyway, so this week I have my Jackson Monarch guitar. Now, this is very much different from all the Jacksons I usually play, in that this is more of what they call a single cut or, of course, Les Paul style guitar. Now, I actually had a couple of Les Pauls in my time. I had a black one that was my go-to when I was playing in an alternative metal band for a while without a Floyd Rose. We did a lot of drop D stuff. So part of the reason why I got this one is because we're going to talk about doing some drop D songs in Siren. So I need the ability to go play down the drop D really easily. Of course, you know. Got to have that ability to do that immediately, right? All right, I'm tuned back up. So anyway, so the Monarch Pro, I really like this guitar. Even though it doesn't have a Floyd, this guitar actually stays in tune really well for not having a Floyd on it. Now, my big gripe being with the Gibson Les Paul, for example, and even some of their guitars, and I believe this is part of the reason why it doesn't stay in tune so well, is because of the headstock, particularly, especially with where the tuners are located, especially with the D and the G string, because of the angle as it comes out of the nut, actually makes kind of a strain, and that's part of the reason when you do your bends and come back down, it kind of pulls it out of tune, and that's what drives me crazy about the Gibsons that I've had. And to try to help with keeping them in tune, actually, I was using this Big Ben's nut sauce, what they call it. So you actually lubricate up here under the strings, and usually you're supposed to put it down here on the bridge, but I've never done that. I was always up here to try to keep them to stay in tune. So, but this one actually, so far as I've had it, I haven't used it a whole lot for live yet, just because I play a lot of whammy bar stuff live. But usually during our set with Siren, I've been bringing this guitar out for one song, and particularly lately, just because there's some clean parts. Now, the pickups on this guitar are it has my favorite Seymour Duncan JB bridge pickup. I love this pickup. I've said it before, and it's great. I'm surprised that they put that in this guitar, actually. I thought they would have probably gone to something more like a Seymour Duncan custom. You know, they called it the PAF on steroids pickup, just because of this being more of a Les Paul vintage style guitar. But in every way, this is not a vintage guitar playing guitar at all in any way. I would actually compare this much more to an LTD EC1000 than I would a Gibson Les Paul in every way, for the tones and whatnot. But actually, with the bridge or the neck pickup, This one I would actually say has much more of a vintage tone than the JB. I would actually probably would prefer to jazz myself for a bridge or for a neck pickup, but you know what? I don't mind this combination so far. It's really great for clean tones. And of course, this pickup combination is a favorite that goes in the signatures of my favorite guitar player, Alex Skolnick. So of course he knows what he likes, and I like what he likes. So, but anyway, so being in a Jackson, of course, compound radius fingerboard, neck, which I like. I love the ebony fingerboard. It's got, instead of the shark fin, it's got these ghost fin inlays. So it still has some sort of inlays, kind of hard to see still, which is something that drives me crazy with some of the modern guitars. But hey, at least it's got something on the fretboard. And of course, very important for being a lead player, having access up here. So being a set neck, though, it actually has this nice curve in here, which makes it really nice for playing up high, very easy. So it's a set maple neck with a mahogany body, but it's a thin body. It's not a thick one like a Les Paul would be. So that's why I kind of compare this even more to an LTD. But even the LTDs that I had a couple in the past, this is even still a thinner body than those. And of course, it's got the belly cut in the back here, which makes it much more comfortable for playing. So in all, I find this a really great rhythm guitar, especially with the Tone Pros bridge on this, for playing a lot of these kind of low kind of riffs. I think this is really great rhythm guitar too. I might even do some tracking on this in the next Siren album. We'll see. But in all, it's a great, and of course, there's another cool feature. Of course, having separate volumes, you can easily do some really cool Randy Rhoads stuff. So that's another cool feature of this that I really like this guitar. And of course, the color is different. I play usually a lot of black guitars. And this is kind of like some of our Siren colors. The purple, I really enjoy the purple and some of the coloring that we use in Siren. So this was kind of cool, kind of perfect for some of the stuff we're kind of aiming to do in the future stuff with Drop D. So there we go. Jackson Pro Series Monarch SCP. All right, so this week I want to talk about trills and building finger independence. So trills are basically when you take a couple of notes and you're basically trying to play as fast as you can in a way. But it can be very useful. It was a big part of a technique from Randy Rhoads, which was one of my favorite guitar players. And he really used that in some of his solos, especially going from and some of the stuff that he used to do. And it can be really helpful in building up the independence in your fingers. So one way to start really developing the technique is to do what I call revving. And it's taking a 2-note pattern, and then kind of gradually increase the speed and then kind of slow down a bit. So like this example here. And then of course you want to involve other fingers, like 1 and 3 maybe. 1 and 4. And the one thing you definitely don't want to do is push it too hard where you're going to hurt yourself. If you start feeling any pain, you're pushing too hard on it. You want to kind of keep a relaxed kind of feel as you're doing it. And it's extremely helpful when you want to build up your legato, especially, right? To do any kind of trilling, even involving more kind of like a pattern, say with 3 notes, like. So revving is really useful to try to build up that speed, but a lot more cool of the, you know, classic rockers did a lot of just the two-noters, which I find really helpful. Now, to sort of help, especially when it comes to your pinky, to build up some more kind of strength, especially between your third and your fourth, I have one exercise that I really enjoy that I found really helpful to build finger independence and to build that kind of strength up, is this little pattern here. Now, it's kind of a long pattern that I'll just kind of shorten it a little bit. And of course, I definitely recommend using a metronome. So here's a little bit of it. Changing strings. So forth. I would actually take that and I would actually go all the way from the first string down to the sixth string, move up one position, and then repeat it all the way back down to the first string again. So you end up on that. And using the metronome to stay consistent. Now, I'm here at 80 beats per minute, so normally nowadays I would start at 80, I would bump it up to about 85, then go 90, to go 95, then I would start backing off once I felt like it was starting to become too difficult. I would back it off by about 5 beats per minute and then go back up, move up another 5 to go up to 100, then back down to 95, and then maybe by then just push it up to like 104, come back down to 100, push it up to 108, come back down to 104, and maybe usually end up around 110 or 112. Try to push it only about maybe 2 beats per minute once it's really starting to strain a little bit, but you definitely don't want to push too hard and hurt yourself at the same time. You want to try to stay as relaxed as possible. And for somebody that would be just starting off with this kind of exercise, I actually would recommend maybe a slower tempo, like a 60, like this. So you definitely want to try to do that and make sure all the notes are even. So I definitely recommend trying to do these type of patterns where you get more involving the third and the fourth fingers as well, as much as you would the first and the second, to try to keep it more even, build up that finger independence, and over time it comes really easy to do those kind of patterns. And of course, a big part of my technique and my style. So anyway, there we go. Only bad thing about having a different volume knobs is that you have to remember that you have them both on when you switch. So anyway, hope you enjoyed that this week. Hope you enjoyed hearing my actual favorite amp. That's my Revv Generator 740, and to my favorite speaker, which is my WGS Veteran 30. So till next time, enjoy. Shred on.